All right, so the first thing to do is to get comfortable with the Windows desktop interface. Now, what I'm showing you works for 7 and works for 8. There might be nuances here and there, but for the most part, I'm going to be concentrating on the desktop portion of working with Windows 8. I'm just going to get away from the tiles right now. I think that most high-end Mac users, people that are looking at customizing and being productive, are the people that are going to move away from the tiles and right to the desktop. I will be talking about different ways to add the Start menu back to Windows 8. There's two different methods that I'll talk about. The best one I'm not going to show now. I'm going to have a separate session on it. It's called Start 8. But we're just going to jump to the desktop with the Windows tool. So let's have a look here. So this is our typical Windows interface. It's the tiled interface, and you'll see down on the bottom left there's a desktop button, and if you press that, it takes you to the desktop. If you hit the Windows key on a Windows keyboard, it takes you back and forth between the last thing you did in the modern UI. So I'm going to stay here on the desktop, and here's one thing that I really like, and that is to customize it and make it feel like home. So right now I've just got a desktop picture, but where are my icons? Where is my Finder? Where are all of those windows? So I'm going to need to get to the control panel, but wait a minute. I don't have a Start menu. I don't have the control panel showing anywhere. How do I get to the control panel? Well, an easy way is to just right-click and choose Personalize. And this brings up the Personalize part of the interface. And on the upper left-hand side, you can see it says Change Desktop Icons. Click on that and it opens up our desktop icon settings. Very simple: computer, user, file, network, recycle bin, which is a trash, and control panel. And here you can just leave on Allow Themes to change icons and click OK, and they show up. Yay! Was that hard? No. We can just think of this root directory here is the home directory. So when I open that up, here's my home directory, and I can close that and come back to it later. But look, we've got very similar thing. You know what? Forget similar. It's freaking identical to the Finder. We've got our computer icon, we've got a network icon, trash. Yes, the control panel doesn't live on the desktop on the Mac, but big deal. There it is. And we've got an icon for our home directory that we can jump into at any time. You can also hold down the Windows key and press E at any point in running anything and get a Windows Explorer. That's what the E is for. Hit E, hit E, hit E, and I'm opening up multiple Explorer windows. Control W, Control W, Control W, closing those, a lot like Command W on the Mac. So that's how to get our desktop icon showing and looking good. Now, if you're like me, I came from the PostScript world and beautiful typesetting and fonts, and I look at the choice that Microsoft gives me for the text of those icons and I want to throw up. They're really thin, they're bordered by a soft edge drop shadow, and I want to look at that all day. And if you jump over to Mac, Mountain Lion, you'll notice all of the desktop fonts are a little bit fatter. And in Windows 7, you can actually change the font and the style. In Windows 8, you can just change the style. So to get to that, you get to Display down here at the bottom. And it's kind of deceiving because all you see is title bars. But if you drop this menu down, you'll actually see, it should say Desktop, but it says Icons down here. Now, before I change that, notice in title bars, I've already made my title bars bold. And you'll see that up here. I just prefer that because the thin kind of type that's normally on there, it looks much better than it did before in previous versions, but I still like those fatter settings. So now I'm on icons. It says 9. I can take this all the way up and make it huge if I want, but I'll click bold and the apply button over here, and this is where Windows has to do a few things and change it. I don't know why such a simple font change requires a kind of hold your computer before you do anything. One other thing that's really interesting with what Microsoft has done is they will change the color of that desktop font from pure white to pure black. You can't change it to anything else. And they will control that based on the color of the theme or the desktop wallpaper that you have, so that when you click on it and you're going back and forth from one to the other, you'll notice at one point between like 50% dark, 50% light, boom, it will change to either black type or white type. So here we are. Now look at my icons. That's a little thing, but trust me, if you're a Windows user and you just see that stuff all freaking day, you're gonna want nice, clean looking type. So that's a little thing, but I like that. Okay, next up, we can also turn off UAC, and actually I should have done this before. If you type in here, user account control, you'll see change user account control comes up in here, and this brings us to this dialog box right here with a slider. And by default, the slider is about there, and you want to take it all the way down to the bottom where it says not recommended, never notify me, click OK, forget every warning, click OK, say yeah, done, finish, get out of here. What is that? Well, you got to understand that a large percentage, the vast majority of Windows users are not on a computer because they're technically savvy. They're using a computer as part of their job. And in doing that, they can make some really odd choices. For instance, somebody sends you an executable, a .exe as a virus in an email. Somebody clicks on it, and because it says, open this up because it says, I love you. You know, a lot of people fell for that one. Duh. If you're going to fall for those, then don't put the slider down there. Leave it up and let the computer warn you. But aren't we adults here? Drag the slider all the way down. Now the Windows operating system will never bug you when you're clicking and opening and doing anything. But you've got to be an adult about that. Don't go crazy and just start surfing to really questionable websites or opening email with .exes and running these things. That's where you run into problems. I have never, ever had any problems in Windows for years because I'm diligent. I pay attention to what I'm doing. You don't just say okay to everything as I'm opening it. For crying out loud, if you're going to do that, you're going to pay the price. Not as bad as on Mac, but it does happen when you've got installers that say, would you like me to install this too? And you forget, yeah, okay, and forget about it. So bottom line is, UAC, I drag it all the way down the bottom. You don't have to. Now, if you hit the Windows F key for find, you're in the modern Windows search, and if you type UAC there, it says, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you click on settings, automatically it now knows what you're talking about. So to me, that's baffling that part of search Microsoft wouldn't figure. UAC is such an important part of the system that it wouldn't come up on any search. You have to know it's a settings search. So that's why I think it's easier to search here in the control panel to turn that off. So it brings this up, click on it here, and brings that up. Now, you'll get warned from this gosh darn Action Center all the time. That's going to come up, and it's going to warn you about a million things. Basically, I turn off the firewalls, I turn off all of the security crap, and just say, leave me alone, I'm an adult, I know what to do, and I close that up. Done. All right. So, next up, oh yeah, while we're there, let me go back to personalize, and I want to go to change mouse pointers. And this is the typical mouse pointer, it's white, but I like to change it to Windows black, large, system scheme, click OK, and now look at what we've got. Feels like home, doesn't it? I don't just change it to black just to make it more like Mac. I change it to black because I can see it better than white. White on white windows. Most of the interface things I deal with are lighter colored, and a darker mouse makes sense. The last thing that I want to talk about to make things seem like home, and believe me, this is a little psychological thing, but it makes all the difference. Bring all your desktop pictures, called wallpapers, over here on Windows. Bring them over here, all the ones that you had on the Mac to personalize things. Down here at the bottom, desktop background, click on it here, and oh, look at, I've got some that I like. There's my National Geographic ones from Mountain Lion, and you can have them fit, you can have them fill, you can have them stretch, you can have them do whatever you want. I tend to want to have very nice, serene pictures in here. Very serene, nice ones. Occasionally I will, you know, go for eastbound and down, but mostly serene pictures in here. Also notice that I don't happen to have any loaded up in here, but you can have two desktop pictures that will actually span two displays, which is something new in Windows 8. And let me tell you, I always have my laptop connected to two displays. We can do this on the Mac, on probably at least back to Leopard or Snow Leopard, but you have to manually click on both displays and set two different desktop displays. But on Windows 8, it automatically knows if you've spanned your desktop to two computers. You tell it, here's my extra wide, and it will span that across there. Little kind of cool things inside there. So that's how to customize stuff right out of the box. I don't think that's too difficult. I can easily get to my things here and make it, you know, simple, make it easy, make it feel like home. And that's what I like. It's got to feel familiar. It's got to be easy and get out of the way. So little by little, here's the first step. Little by little, we're going to take one step at a time and finally get you moving over and feeling comfortable working with Windows.